Lee Summit is your destination for big city vibes and small town charm.
Head to the downtown Lee Summit Farmers Market, where local meets fresh. Then grab a cup of coffee and discover a variety of shops and boutiques just around the corner. Continue the fun in downtown Lee Summit at a retro arcade bar. Discover your new beer at one of our 6 locally owned breweries. Cool off with some handcrafted cocktails at happy hour. End the night with live music and good company. Lee Summit, Missouri.
Hello, Lee Summit. I'm Laura, and this is your flash briefing for the week of January 13th. City Council will hold a joint session Tuesday night with the Lee Summit Parks and Recreation Board at 6 p.m. and council chambers at City Hall. The meeting is open to the public or watch live on the city's YouTube channel. If you can't watch, catch the recorded meeting on demand on the YouTube channel or by subscribing to the Council Debrief newsletter, which breaks down 3 to 4 key agenda items. Subscribe at cityofls.net. It sure is cold outside. Be sure to protect your pipes by doing these 4 simple tasks. Disconnect hoses from outside spigots, leave cabinet doors open for warm air circulation, let water trickle to keep it flowing, and insulate pipes and faucets in unheated areas. Find more winterization tips at lswater.net. Stay safe and informed with LS Aware, the city's free alert system designed to keep residents and businesses informed of emergencies such as winter events, road closures, and certain non-emergency events. The city can quickly send messages via phone, text, or email depending on the preference set up by the user. Users choose how to be notified and what information they wish to receive. Sign up at lsaware.net. The city is hiring. Join our team at the City of Lee Summit. The city offers rewarding career opportunities, a positive environment, and fantastic benefits. View these opportunities at lspeople.net. A reminder, city facilities will be closed on Monday, January 20th. Thanks for listening and have a great week.
Welcome to the Lee Summit Sign Department. We are going to walk you through our process from start to finish. We make signs as needed here. It's not like we just go out into the field and place a speed limit sign here, no parking here. Our traffic engineers, they go through and they'll do field studies. They'll send us down an engineering work order for us to go out, place new signs or remove signs as needed. Coming from the material, our blanks come in and they're just aluminum blanks. We can put our white, our red, our fluorescent yellow, green, whatever. And basically what it looks like is just that there. Throw it up into the roller. And once we got it covered, take it to our work table here, and Tim will cut the corners, cut all the access off to where it's lined up right. As far as the plotter and the software that we use, there's a street name sign there, and he's gonna go ahead and print that out on the plotter so you can see the plotter and how it operates and runs. There's standards for the height, even just on letters on the sign blank. Basically what we have on the computer there is it's pretty much set up to those. And it goes through, it's got a very small but sharp needle that goes through and cuts everything out, letter by letter. Once that's done cutting, our next stage would be bringing it over here. Currently picking out the sign letters right now. We call it weeding or picking or however you want to call it. Next, putting it on the transfer tape. Then after it's taped, we bring it over to the roller. That's where we apply it to the actual sign blank. And we'll roll it through one time just to get the air bubbles out. And the last stage is basically just taking the transfer tape off the front of it. And there's a finished product of the street name sign. We'll take you out to the field and show you our process that we go through. We're gonna go out and follow our sign guys, get something installed for you. This is where we check our underground utilities. Tim, you got AT&T?
AT&T's back here.
Evergy, Google, so we should be good to go. We normally put all of our stuff together out in the field. Then once the base is installed, we'll go ahead and put the post in there. We've come up to perfect. And that's how we do it. Simple, quick.
Have you ever been driving around Lee Summit and wondered what's that going to be? What's being built there? Wow, that went up fast. The Development Minute is here to help, highlighting some of the newest projects in Lee Summit, Missouri.
Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen is coming to the former Lion's Choice at Summit Orchards. The fast food chain, known for its fried chicken and spicy chicken sandwiches, is scheduled to open in early 2025. Local authentic Mexican restaurant El Toro Loco is coming to Summit Woods Crossing Shopping Center. The restaurant will occupy the former On the Border location and offer dishes like street tacos, enchiladas, and fajitas. El Toro Loco will be opening in early 2025. Pho Noodle Go had a soft opening where the former Pepper Jack's Grill was located in Summit Woods Crossing. The establishment is currently serving a selection of pho noodle soups, appetizers, and daily specials. Pho Noodle Go will fully open in 2025. The Quick Trip located at 1001 Southwest Blue Parkway has begun its redevelopment. The squeaky clean car wash is being demolished to accommodate a new 5,300 square foot QT building and a planned phased rebuild. The current location will remain open during construction. The new QT will open in 2025. Discovery Park, the 3.9 million square foot mixed-use project located off of Northwest Colburn Road and Northeast Douglas Street, is underway, and its first phase, The Village, is being graded. Town Place Suites Hotel by Marriott will be one of the first builds coming to the Village. The hotel will feature spacious rooms with amenities including full kitchens.
That's it for the Development Minute. For more about upcoming projects, visit cityofls.net.
I am Fred DeMoro. I represent District 4. I've been on the council for 4 years, just completed 4 years. They were good 4 years, a lot to do. And prior to that, I was on the Charter Review Commission. Prior to that, I spent 7 years on the Planning Commission. And the Planning Commission is actually the advising body to the City Council for land issues and development issues. I've always been interested in the city, and I actually, a current council member is the one that gave me the urge to, or push to actually join the Planning Commission. And I just wanted to get more involved. I think he got tired of me asking questions all the time, so he said, let's put him to work. The one thing that we are passionate about, or I'm passionate about, is reducing the burden of property taxes on our residents, and by that we have to attract more commercial development to get those commercial property taxes, commercial sales taxes involved. And as a trickle-down theory, that actually reduces the burden on residents. It sort of move from a bedroom community to a more diverse community tax base. I am Public Works Chairman, and we actually found money for a stormwater rate study. Now, what that will do is we will have a consultant come in and tell us how to actually enact or enable a stormwater rate to build a fund for being proactive on stormwater issues. We have a lot of stormwater issues in Lee Summit. We're surrounded by water. We're surrounded by lakes and river and things like that. And that is a big accomplishment. I know the Public Works chairmans before me had always tried to get that forward, and we finally did. And right now I think we've got an RFP for a consultant. And it's important to remember that we have to keep our infrastructure up, and that's just not stormwater and/or water utilities. That's curbs, gutters, sidewalks, and everything like that. I've been a resident since 1986, and when I moved in 1986, it was a small town, small city. And it is very interesting to have seen everything happen in those since 1986. And we have grown immensely. Citizen involvement is very important. I think that It makes us a better community. There are all kinds of people out there that have really great ideas that would fit well in our boards and commissions. And really, it's minimal time invested. They would be surprised of what they can do, the good they can do in a short amount of time, one meeting a month or one meeting every quarter, and really move things forward. And then, you know, help the council with the idea of what the community is actually needing and saying, and that's always important too.
call to order the City of Lee Summit Legislative Intergovernmental Relations Committee meeting. Chairperson Lovell is present, but he is having some audio delay, so I'll just stand in as the chair for this meeting. Could I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Lovell, I'm going to mark you present as I can see
Here.
you. Oh, there, thank you. Councilmember Pryor? She was there.
I'll text her.
Mayor Baird?
Here.
We need one more to have a quorum.
Yeah, and she was signed in.
Oh, she's coming back in now.
Okay.
Councilmember Pryor, are you present?
Yep, I'm here. It kicked me out of the meeting, so I had to join again.
Thank you.
All right. We did it. We started the meeting. Okay. We have a quorum, so I would need a motion to approve the agenda, please. Councilmember Pryor, would you make a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Okay, I second. Can I get any discussion? No? All right. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor, I give up. Mayor Baird.
Bill Baird, Mayor Baird, yeah. Aye.
Councilmember Lovell?
Aye.
Councilmember Pryor?
Aye.
Very good. The first item of business is the approval of the action letter from December 9th Legislative Intergovernmental Relations Committee meeting. Can I get a motion, Councilmember?
Chair,
Yes.
I move to approve the action letter.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Lovell, second by Councilmember Pryor. Discussion? Not seeing discussion. Please roll call vote, please, that.
Councilmember Pryor?
Aye.
Mayor Baird?
Aye.
And Councilmember Lovell?
Aye.
All right, and then the next item on the agenda is the discussion of the lobbyist report on pre-filed bills and the start of the legislative session. I see we have Zach Pollock here, and of course, John Hensley. Hello, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Happy New Year, Mayor. Good to see you.
Are you excited about the new session?
I'm feeling better about this one than I have in the past couple of years, yes.
Okay. Because the last couple of years, you've been telling us nothing was going to happen and nothing was going to get done until the last minute, and that's exactly what happened.
Yes. Got the landfill taken care of last year.
That was not fun, but thank you for all your help with that.
Our absolute pleasure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What are your thoughts heading into this session?
Well,
Mr. Head, it says on here you're going to present. Are you presenting on this?
No, I don't have anything to present. I can just introduce a little bit. We just asked Zach and John to come and give us kind of a flavor of Jeff City, give you a few highlights of maybe a couple of the bills, some of the bills that have been filed. We actually chatted this morning. Sounds like things are not that different than previous years. We just asked them to kind of give you an update. We'll try to do one now, try to do one mid-session, and then we'll do another one at the end of the session as we get closer. Just kind of get updates as we go along. Okay. So I'll let Zach or John, I'm not sure who's going to speak on their behalf, but let them give us the kind of how things are starting off this year.
Yeah, well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Missouri General Assembly. They got gavelled back in last Wednesday, and today happens to be Inauguration Day. So at this very moment, the South Lawn and the steps leading from the South Lawn up to the Capitol are packed with Governor-elect Kehoe becoming Governor Kehoe and other statewide electeds being sworn in. And then this afternoon into this evening are all the receptions and the parties. As you saw in last week's legislative report, hometown guy, John Patterson, resoundingly elected Speaker of the House of Representatives last week by almost all of his colleagues. That's exciting. And Senator Cindy O'Loughlin also taking the lead spot in that chamber. So those are our two main leaders on both sides of the building. At this point, we're zeroing in on 1,500 total bills filed so far for this session. In years past, you would see maybe 1,500 bills filed throughout an entire session. And now we're leading off with about 1,500 bills. So we'll see where we go. We might wind up in the mid twos once it's all said and done. For Lee's Summit's purposes, we have House Bill 431, Representative Catton's land conveyance bill, and then the companion bill to that, Senate bill, it's Senator Searpoy's bill, and it's just
247.
I'm sorry?
247, Senate Bill 247.
Yep, Senate Bill 247. We've been talking with Brian about this for a while, and Zach primarily has been coordinating with state officials. Zach, I don't know if you had any comments you wanted to share on those two bills.
Brian and I had a conversation on Thursday or Friday. It seems as MoDOT wrote the language, the base of the bill that both Carolyn and Senator Searpoy filed. As it turns out, there might be some additional language that we need to get added, and which is no problem at all. But I think, as Brian was talking to me, that was the MoDOT focus of the conveyance, which is that MoDOT right away there at 291 and 50. And I think there is some additional conveyance that needs to happen in order for Lee Summit to take over all of that area from the state. I don't know, Brian, do you have any more to add to that at this time?
No, I had members of staff, 3 different members of staff, all identified slightly different issues. So we need to get our ducks in a row and figure out exactly what the issues are with the legal descriptions. And it may be that MoDOT wasn't intending to put anything in other than their conveyance, but there may be some OA property that also needs to be conveyed. So we've got to figure all that out. And I need to get back with Michael Park and Ryan and David, because all 3 of them were looking at this for different reasons.
Gosh, and we have time. The committees aren't even set up yet. That's supposed to happen both in the House and the Senate. That's not supposed to happen until this week, and then referral of bills next week. We're not going to have a hearing, but with the speaker ready to help Carolyn walk this bill through the process, since she is a freshman. It was the speaker's suggestion to have Carolyn, Representative Canton, file this, because as speaker, they normally don't file any bills. But he has said to me last week that don't worry about it. I'll walk the representative through the whole process and we'll get it done, get it in and out of the House, have a hearing as quickly as possible. So feeling pretty good about that. Same with the Senate Bill 247. They still haven't determined what in the Senate they refer bills in order. And we've got Senate Bill 247. That may not happen the first week. It just depends on what Senator O'Loughlin does. If she takes 100 bills a week to refer, 200 bills. So it could be a couple of weeks before it even gets referred. Those committees aren't even set up yet, so we don't have a clue where it would go. But I trust the speaker to put that exactly where it needs to go. And I know Representative Canton was working on just the referral request letter. That's just normal procedure for reps to send into the speaker's office. She was working on that last week. So I think where we are at right now, I feel pretty good and confident that we'll get it in or get it out of the House ASAP, especially with the speaker being from Lee Summit and him giving me his word that he'd get it taken care of.
Yeah, so of course it'll be in your reports every week as those bills are referred, as they're scheduled for hearing, and we'll stay in close contact regarding those. Going through the rest of the report, as Brian said a moment ago, a lot of familiar stuff in the pre-files as compared to years past, relating to municipalities. A lot of tax items, bonds, finance items, a handful of local governance sort of potpourri, right-of-way and reimbursement for relocation cost bills are back, a couple of those, and yeah, just stuff we're used to seeing for municipalities. So it'll all, as each of those progress, of course, we'll stay on top of those, and it'll become clear over the next few weeks which ones are really intended to, by their sponsors to be pushed, nudged towards success, and which ones were filed but perhaps aren't being enthusiastically backed by their sponsors. So the wheat and chaff will be separated here before spring break. Zach, do you have any other comments? I mean, I'll just add in terms of priorities, as we mentioned in the report last week, and largely as taken from the victory acceptance speeches given by the speaker and the president pro tem last week. A lot of property and income tax focus, initiative petition reform, various items of crime reform, crime fighting items. There's going to be a lot of focus on Amendment 3, the reproductive rights item that passed, and perhaps ways that the General Assembly is going to try to hem in or walk back provisions in that item to the extent that they can, and then children's issues, family issues, education. We got a little bit of everything so far this year, and we're off to a rollicking start. Zach, anything to add?
No, I think you've covered everything very well. Obviously, the land conveyances are kind of the focus right now. I know there's lots of discussion internally on your guys' side about MoDOT and funding and some of the highway issues. And we've got the legislative priorities pamphlet that Brian has sent us. Been sharing that with the powers that be. I think, John, you covered it pretty well.
Well, hey, thanks.
Are you going to see any action on Proposition A, the minimum wage and the sick leave?
There's a lot of discussion about it. There's many bills filed regarding that mandatory sick leave provision and the minimum wage, kind of rolling that back because it's not a constitutional amendment. The legislature can go back and change that. I don't know how much oomph it's going to have because it was passed by the voters, and Speaker Patterson has said, I don't want to go against the will of the people, but his caucus on Amendment 3, they're probably going to do something with that, with Amendment 3. I don't know. We'll see it. there's talk about it. I know a lot of the businesses, it's actually at the Supreme Court. The chamber filed a lawsuit on it, all the way up to the Supreme Court. I'm going to defer to John, the lawyer, on that one. But
Love it when you do that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
of
don't
course.
I don't have any particular intel on the status of that case.
Yeah. Lots of business groups joined that lawsuit.
Yeah.
So I think everything's on hold on that until the lawsuit is decided. And from what I've heard, it doesn't sound great because their argument was that it was two subjects,
Yeah.
the minimum wage and the sick leave. So that's the argument at the Supreme Court. I've heard that that really isn't going to, probably won't fly, but we don't know. I mean, it's in the judge's hands on that particular point, but I would think that until that's decided, I wouldn't think there would be any real push to change it right now, I mean, at this particular time. But it's definitely out there. There are numerous bills filed that mess with Proposition A.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, questions? Comments from council members? I would ask, what do you feel, Governor, what kind of changes do you think we'll see with Governor Kehoe versus Parsons? Priority wise. Is there any major?
Well, I mean, one item obviously that doesn't affect you all is, I mean, one thing he's been loud about is returning the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department control to the state. He's been a kind of a loud backer of that, whereas I haven't gotten the sense that Governor Kehoe was quite as passionately supportive. Zach, what do you think?
No, I agree. Truthfully, those two have been connected at the hip.
Yeah.
Since Parson appointed Kehoe lieutenant governor, however long ago that was, those two have been pretty much in lockstep. I just know you're right, John. They haven't. He's got a big priority to return that control back to the state.
From which jurisdiction?
St. Louis.
From local municipal control to the state.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, as Zach was saying, these are two pretty philosophically similar guys who've also been close for a long time. So,
okay.
Yeah.
A lot of focus on transportation infrastructure. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty lockstep. I mean, what John was saying, that might be the real only difference. Is that big push to return state control for the St. Louis police force.
Okay. Well, that's good that they are he's going to continue the infrastructure and transportation and such, because that's one thing I wanted to visit with everybody about today. But before I go there, let's see.
Yeah, isn't that, Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that sort of where Governor Kehoe got his start in state government, was with the
Highway and Transportation Commission? Yeah. Governor Blunt appointed him to the MoDOT Commission, and then it was after that he ran for Senate, appointed to lieutenant governor, now governor. So he's always been, I mean, he was the handler of the I-70, however many billions of dollars they're putting into that.
Yep. So, so the two things I was going to visit about were our visit next month, and they are sitting on a lot of infrastructure dollars still, right? When do they need to spend all that by?
End of 28.
Okay. So I was going to talk to Councilmember Lovell and Pryor about the visit next month. We go to Jefferson City for the MML, and we take advantage of that time because, Zach and John last year were great. They ran around with us as we met with our representatives and senator, and we want to do the same thing. And we want to use the pamphlet that you got with our legislative priorities. But last year we made, and we've been talking about it with them for a few years now, but last year we kind of took it a step further, provided some more information. So could I share the screen real quick? You guys good with that? Let's see here. Can you see everybody see that? This is what we handed out last year. I created this, but I'd really like to hand this over to staff this year, Councilmember Lovell and Councilmember Pryor, and have them take this to the next level. This is rather long. It's 18 pages, and I did print these hard copies for everybody when we went last year, but it just talks about 470 and this spot here where the blue line needs to be expanded. They spent billions on 70 highway to make sure it was 6 lanes all the way across, and this connects to 70 highway. And I believe we're about 6 lanes right over here going west to Kansas, but this blue line is where there's just tremendous congestion. And then we're adding all this development. So this is what I showed them last year with council. The SLR property that's on the market here, the airport expansion that we've just, the Hangar 2 and the east development there, the Discovery Park here on Colburn is well underway. Down here, St. Luke's has expanded, small photo there. Of course, we have all these jobs that we brought in here, with Commerce Center, and it's still being filled, 800,000 square feet. It's just created an absolute bottleneck right here. And so I'd like, this was showing them the PRI properties. This is showing them basically, you'd have to rotate it if you had a hard copy, but there we go. That was just isolating the SLR property there, showing them how important this is here. Showing them what the SLR property is probably going to be with regard to residential, industrial. Showing them a little bit more on, organize this. Colburn, this would be the Discovery Park. Just giving them a feel of what's coming down the pipeline over the next few years and that we really need to prepare for it. So anyway, I ran through this last year and I think they all got a lot out of it. I think Zach and John, you remember.
Absolutely.
And they don't get to see this stuff. They don't get to dive into the details of this, even though our representatives maybe know a little bit about this, but this is just a way to help them, just showing them the specifics. Here's the airport. And at the end here, this is where I'd like city administration's help, management, updating this. They did put this together. Michael Park, and I believe was a big part of getting these numbers from MoDOT, but I just think we need to update this and we need to expand it to say, we think that the rough estimate MoDOT has is ballpark, which I don't know how old that number is now at this point, was 138 million for widening and the replacement shoulders and such. But I want to make sure that these numbers are accurate, and I just kind of highlighted down here the fact that this, I think I added this part myself, which is, we believe this congested area with no funding source and no plan will require a partnership between federal, state, and local funding sources. While we know that the 6 lanes along 470 will be an upgrade in alignment with the rest of 470 and 70 to the north, it is a bottleneck and congestion that creates miles of vehicles at a standstill with much more traffic to come. So Senator Searpoy knows all about this. He's experienced it. And then we have the Speaker of the House, John Patterson, that experiences it all the time because he lives right here. I think that they're super familiar with this now. We need to take advantage of, you know, the Speaker of the House being in the position he is and the good relationship we have with our other representatives, but also the Senator Searpoy. And we think that the relationship with, this has been introduced by our staff to Sam Graves' office, but they could really take this further, I think, than we can if Speaker of the House and Senator would present this to Sam Graves and we could get some kind of partnership and get this done. But I'll yield to Councilmember Lovell and Pryor with regard to thoughts on this. Councilmember Lovell, you got thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think you've put it together. There's a lot of great information there. I think, you know, turn that over to staff to kind of get it more clear and concise, maybe update some of the numbers that we have in there, and just really make a push to, you know, continue to have this on their radar and, you know, hopefully advance it forward in some fashion over the next year. I think it makes a lot of sense.
And then also, I didn't mention that Patterson has basically signaled, you know, in an appropriate way to Mark Dunning to get this, you know, get this to him again. So he's expecting it.
Terrific.
Councilmember Pryor, do you have any thoughts?
I think I really like that. I think maybe, I don't know if we can get any highway patrol statistics on, I'm sure highway patrol would be all for this, especially with their new headquarters, Troop A headquarters going to be going like right there on Colburn. So they're going to be utilizing this a lot. So I feel like that's another thing we need to kind of focus on is there's really no way around this traffic other than Todd George. So I don't know.
You know, one thing that we've done is we've invested in Todd George. We put that in the no tax increase bond. So we are investing in Todd George. Mm-hmm. It's just not gonna be the fix that we needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think highway patrol needs to utilize highway. I mean, that's gonna be most of a lot of their calls are right along this stretch. So I would imagine if we could, I don't know if there's a way to get highway patrol behind wanting to get this fixed, or at least having a conversation with them.
Yeah, Zach and John, what are your thoughts on highway patrol, as well as how do we need to present this differently maybe next year, even though, like I said, they're expecting something. So what's your advice?
John, I would, what you have here, in fact, I was going to ask, once you have this updated, could you email us the slide deck? Because this is great. I mean, I remember seeing this last year, and this allows everybody to take a look at it and say, okay, I know exactly where you're talking about. Because everybody's been to Kansas City, at least Summit. Everybody drives through here at some point in time, but what you got here is perfect. And I like the idea of getting highway patrol involved in it and finding out the statistics that they've got for the number of calls they get for just this area.
Yeah, we can definitely reach out to them.
Okay. So when we can do this and take this, get this polished up. When we present to, usually we have of course Representative Patterson, Engel, and Strickler. So that's on the representative side, but I think Patterson really is excited about hopefully excited about championing this. I think he is. So when we go present, I'd like to, do you guys think it's appropriate to make, just to, like we've done in the past, get them to work together and get them behind Patterson? And then when we go to Searpoint, just say, you're our guy obviously on the Senate side, but we're just going to direct them to all work together. They seem to all have a good working relationship, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yes.
To you and Zach, you, John, and Zach, don't you think they've done a great job of being bipartisan and fighting for Lee Summit this way?
It's been pretty remarkable,
Yeah.
actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Okay, Councilmember Lovell.
Yeah, I was just going to add too, because I think it might help, but and you kind of mentioned it with the expansion of I-70. This is a major arterial road to access I-70, and that would include lots of logistics coming across from Kansas to into. This is kind of the major way to connect to I-70. So it would just be something to the benefit of Lee Summit. We're benefiting Raymore, Grandview, Kansas City areas that are in Missouri as well. So I think it could be, I think what it would be important too is kind of selling that idea that it's a benefit, not just to Lee Summit, but a lot of neighboring Missouri communities that would benefit from this congestion being cleared up. And I only would expect it would get bigger too with the expansion of I-70, because this is a way to access Kansas. So it's not just to the benefit of Lee Summit. I think it'd be something important we could include in our ask.
Yeah, along those, we lost your audio, Councilmember.
Oh, I just turned it off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Along those same lines, Zach and John, this really does benefit, like Councilmember Lovell saying, other communities, but especially to the north here, Blue Springs and Independence.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything we could do to, how do we present that, I guess? Do we just simply point it out, or do we try to seek other allies in this? And would they even be interested because it's not really in their district? Is it just best to just try to take it the way we're doing it through our representatives and senators and let them deal with it? Or is there any other legwork we should do?
I mean, we can look and find whoever represents Blue Springs, Independence. Obviously, we're familiar with the teams that represent the other municipalities that Councilmember Lovell mentioned a few minutes ago, because we worked closely with them last year. And we can, if you like, we can sort of feel out what their interests might be, and also sort of what their if they have infrastructure priorities that they're aiming at this year, and we can take the temperature and mark the twain, and see if there might be a way to work together on it.
Okay, one last thing along the same lines, John, would be the airport. Like the last thing we need is people flying into our airport and then hitting a traffic jam. And I'm telling you, pretty much every day of the week, 4 o'clock, it's at a crawl. I'll show you on the map. It's at a crawl right here. And it's because it's really, really complicated. I know you guys know the area, but it's hard to get on to 470 from here because it's one lane, and this traffic is heavy, so it bottlenecks. It's just not wide enough. That's number one. Number two, it's for people, like, there's no way to get going south on 291. Even if you're going like right here, you would think there'd be a ramp, an exit, and then you would just jump on 291. It doesn't work like that. So we don't have anything like that. So it forces all the traffic up. Okay. So even if you want to get over here, you got to basically get off here. So it's complicated. But then also coming back, the only way to get onto 291 South, which is where the heart of our density is is to get in the far left lane, and it's one ramp that gets us here. So it really is a very congested area. They are all familiar with it, but I'm kind of making sure Zach and John understand that at 4 o'clock every day, this is like a constant congestion issue, and it goes until 6:30 before it clears up. So you've got literally 2 hours every day where this is at a crawl, and you can imagine if there's an accident, it's at a standstill. But usually it's just a crawl because, as in 5 to 10 to 15 miles an hour traffic. It's not. It's consistent. It's not based on anything other than, the sheer numbers that are of traffic that you have. So with that said, I'll hand this over to staff and have them help us out. I've got staff on here. I've got Crystal Weber, and she'll help me get this to Michael Park, and we'll get it refined. We'll send it to Zach and John. And then when we go up next month, we will have our pamphlet, our legislative priorities. But I think this would be the number one. And then we need to think about anything else. I usually go with 3 things, and they don't have to all be big. This can be our big one. But I usually I try to highlight 3 things for every meeting. So this can be the one. And then the other 2 things, we can either go off of our legislative priorities, or if something else comes up. Last year, we had to talk about the landfill. That was one of our big asks along with this. But mostly we just go to build these relationships and make friends, and put ourselves in a position as a city to have a good relationship with the people that right now have their fingers on a lot of surplus in a budget. They don't call it a surplus, I know, but it's a massive surplus in their budget right now. So.
Very good.
Yeah, any thoughts to add to that, anybody? Okay, sorry, I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking, but I do look forward to this opportunity with council to go up, meet with them and talk about these things. So
look forward to seeing you all.
Is the MML conference is that the February 18th?
18th, yep. Yeah. It's the 18th.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys
Will
need
you
to
be down on the 17th, or just coming down that morning on the 18th, staying the night the 18th?
In the past, most council members that have come have driven that day. But I typically stay the night. I don't like to get up at 5 in the morning and drive. I'd rather stay the night. So it's just depending on, we'll get a tally, see who might make it.
All right, we'll talk to, now, are you guys calling Patterson's office?
Yeah, you know what? This is the thing what I've learned is that you guys are worth it. You guys have been fantastic. Your relationships with these guys. In the past, we've relied on Julie to set up all these meetings, and she's really excellent at it. However, I would really love it if you guys would take the lead on who we meet with, in what order, and setting it up, if you would consider that, because I just think that you're the ones that's face to face with them, plus you know how you want this to go to help us. And if you would consider setting those meetings up, we would.
That is not a problem at all, and we would be happy to do it.
Absolutely.
We do not. It's not that we don't appreciate the MML and such, but we don't go around with the other cities, because my first year I learned right away that we have to go and take advantage of this day to advocate for Lee Summit. And I'm all for the partnerships, but those are separate days. This is my chance to go with my peers, my council members, and us go as a team up here, rather than, and we are good regional partners, but we'll partner up on other things like we did the landfill and such. This is our chance to go with, to go and build our relationship. So
perfect.
No problem at all.
So you'll set those meetings up?
Happy to.
Yeah, and then you can, Crystal.
Yeah, Mayor, I'll send John and Zach Julie's email so that they can coordinate a final agenda back to you. Got you covered.
Thank you. Sorry, I am so tired, guys. I'm not on my game. So, council members, I might need help tomorrow night getting to the meeting if I'm not. I made it through that last meeting and I wasn't sure I was going to. I was exhausted that one too, but I'm getting better. All right, anything else? Mr. Head, anything else? I'm going to go to public comments. Do we have any public comments?
We had
Didn't
no
have any
comments
public
submitted in advance, and no one is on Zoom wishing to speak.
All right, then let's go to roundtable. Anybody? Zach and John, you want to make any final comments before we close out?
Well, we are thrilled to be working with you for our second session together.
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic, and I'm looking forward to having another meeting this year now that we know how to work with each other and take advantage of each other's skill sets. So
Absolutely. And look forward to seeing you all in about a month.
all right, make sure it's
Mayor,
nice.
oh,
We
I
need
would-
nice weather. No snow, no sleet, not even rain. I don't want rain.
Give it a shot.
Hey, Mayor, the next meeting would be scheduled for February 10th. I'd just like to throw that out there for roundtable.
But then that's the goal, is to have that PDF or that slide deck available for council members to review it before we go.
Okay.
Yep, let's do that.
Fine.
All right, well, it was my pleasure to be the chair today because
You
Councilman.
did great.
Because he couldn't, because he's talking, and then his sound comes 5 minutes later.
Well, you did great, Mayor. I think you've got a future in this.
Sort of like a bad Bruce Lee movie.
Yeah.
Mr. K all over again. All right, it is almost Groundhog Day. So everybody enjoy. I'll see you all in a month, and I'll see council members tomorrow night.
Bye, Mayor.
Bye.